Okay, this is another one of these happy accident things, but I'm going to get to a point here that's very, very, very practical. So this is Vernonia, and there's a lot of Vernonia uprights. I'm not going to get into the botanical of it, but this plant is absolutely beautiful in its silhouette and the way it can catch the late day light. I just missed it at its peak, like just a second or so ago, but you can even see against the hillside there. This plant has grown all on its own through the soil of back here, which is very rich, by the way, which is another thing. That's pushing about at least 7 to 8 feet all on its own. So what does this tell me, right? Maybe think about some Vernonias, maybe some of the selected varieties. There's one out there in the world with the word peachy in it that I remember. Over here, I'll show you a little bit of the hillside too. Also want to shout out American spice bush here in a second. You can see some of the fall color. Cameo by the wife in the background again. It's okay. It's a regular occurrence. And then down here, look at this. So this is the American spice bush. This is Hartlage wine. The J.C. Ralstonii hybrid type. You can see the foliage, and behind me, the incredible cloudscape of today. But look how great that is, just laying on the ground. The one thing I will warn you about with this plant is, we talk a lot of times about how to underplant in dry shade. And yeah, for sure. But here's another thing that is a little bit harder with a plant like this. It's not just dry shade, it is impenetrable root shade. It's not the shade at all that's the problem. It's you cannot penetrate through this tree's root system. And the way that it grows, in this very shrubby mass, I've cut this thing back, I'll tell you, a billion times, and it still doesn't matter. And it's just got so much energy. It's on soil that it likes and adores. Hartlage wine, any of these varieties, they're really beautiful. The flower's great, all of it, love it. But the root thing is definitely an issue. Now the Astilbe love it here, but only up until a certain point. And these phlox paniculata are, as you can also see, stretching for the light. But again, just a beautiful example of a couple of interesting plants. The big thing though is that Vernonia success, right? Maybe I take a power drill and I power through the roots, right, of the spice bush, and just vroom. Sorry, Hartlage wine, you'll be okay, but we're going in through the roots with one of the Vernonias. Maybe that's the choice, right? Or maybe it's something else. But again, just taking some time, paying attention to things, and then I'm just going to pull this over very slowly, hopefully, in front of me, or you can see. If you haven't seen this, right, just for scale, and then I'm going to move it to the other camera lens, hopefully. I'm going to try to get good at this over time. You can see the seed heads. Now again, this is a plant that if you saw it in flower, you'd probably go, whatever, no big deal, little purple flower, who cares, nobody, it's not a giant dahlia, cafe latte, double mocha espresso, whatever, zinnia, queen lime, ricky ticky taffy, when it was in flower. But now look at it. Many of those same people who love those varieties would then pay someone for a dried flower that looked just like this. Oh wait, that was this. So again, with peace and love, I'm saying this, but again, it's just when we're looking at things sometimes that needs to be done a little bit differently. Just like all of this, right? There's a lot of interesting ecology that I chose intentionally, unintentionally, serendipitously to look at this year differently. How moist is moist? What areas are we looking at? Slow down, because I did not slow down for a long time gardening here. I just started collecting plants in a very beautiful location, which you're about to see the other side of the hillscape. Hillscape magic. I was just gardening in a way that I really didn't understand where I was. I was understanding plants more and more. I was collecting more and more, but I didn't really have a firm grasp on what I wanted it to be in this place. I was in many ways building other people's gardens. People that you're influenced by. And there's nothing wrong with that, because those people are your influences. So you're building their gardens and borrowing, hopefully, from them in the future gardens you build. But some ways you haven't found your own voice. And it's really not until this year that I really am trying to find my own voice. And even that could be an illusion. Both sides now. Joni Mitchell.